They're talking about 1947. Well, you're talking about dummies used in the 50s, almost a decade later.
Well, I'm afraid that's a problem that we have with time compression. I don't know what they saw in 47, but I'm quite sure it probably was Project Mogul. But I think if you find that people talk about things over a period of time, they begin to lose exactly when the date was. And there were lots of dummies dropped. There were about 2,500 balloons launched during this 30-year period in New Mexico alone.
Let me just clear up two things that you sort of brushed over quickly. Number one was the time frame that people are going to say, but this is 10 years. How could they possibly make a mistake on the 10 years? And number two, you said it was never classified, and yet why didn't people at the time say, well, my goodness, we were having dummy tests, this explains the answer?
Well, the dummy test, actually, you need to get the book. Actually, you need to look in here. If you look in here, you'll find there are a couple of things in which the dummy tests get lots of media attention. I have it tabbed, and I should be able to find it, but quite frankly, I'm sitting here and my knees are shaking.
26, sir.
But
20, page 26.
yes, explain those two things.
Okay, there's your pictures for that. But let me tell you that I don't know why they can't associate that time period. I'm sorry, I just don't have any information for that. All I know is what the Air Force did, and that if you overlay much of their claims and you look at the Air Force scientific research, you can see it's obvious that what we're talking about at Roswell, and I don't mean Roswell in 47 because that was Project Mogul. That was unmanned. I want to make that very clear. And that's the first report. But over that period of time, dummies were dropped all around there. And I think it's logical to assume that the people there saw Air Force ambulances come out, they saw gurneys come out, they saw body bags come out because the dummies were put into body bags to protect them. They saw people in pith helmets, they saw people in shorts out there brushing the bushes looking for the remnants of the balloons. And when you put all that stuff together and spin it, you find that it fits perfectly with many of the occurrences in Roswell during that era.
They also said that these figures were of much smaller stature than full-size adult figures. How do you reconcile that?
I don't reconcile that. I just have no idea why they say that.
Can you help us with when the dummies were first used? What year?
53.
And how many, you say, numbers?
Well, the actual balloon launchings were about 2,500. The actual number of dummies dropped were, it's actually in the book and it's very specific, but the number just escapes me. It's more than 300 or 400. And I totally agree. If I saw something like that, I'm riding along out there near Ruidoso and I'm wandering out in the desert and I see this funny looking dish out there, I might want to poke around at it, but quite frankly, this is probably what it was.
You keep using the word probably, and you say case closed. Those two don't jive.
Yeah,
How do
you're
you
right.
reconcile that?
Okay, let me say, from the Air Force perspective, that's exactly what it was. And I don't mean to be rude about that. I want you to understand we are very, very proud of this report. We think in our office that this answers lots of questions, and it answers them logically and with integrity.
How do you know, I mean, your name is now, Colonel John Haynes is going to go down in UFO lore as one of the people who took part, in the minds of some people, in the continuing cover-up by the government. How do you know that you're not being used? How do you know that you know the full story when you say that there's no evidence of it?
Because our job is to review all the Air Force documents for this era. And that's how we came up with this exciting and interesting and intriguing, quite frankly, report. I know you think that sounds like a broken record, but you need to get in here and read it, and you will see that many of the things that people think they saw correlate perfectly with Air Force research projects.
You're confident that you're not part of any cover-up, wittingly or unwittingly?
I'm totally confident